My name is Alyssa. I work with messaging and collaboration services, and I will be presenting Microsoft Bookings to you today. So just give me one moment. Okay. Let me see. Hopefully that looks good. Can I just get a thumbs up if you see the presentation? You see what you're supposed to see? Thank you. Okay. All right. So again, my name is Alyssa. If you haven't seen me before, I work with Connect Support, and I am excited to teach you about bookings today. A lot of you may have already seen it before. It's been around for quite some time now, but it's gained more traction throughout the year. Microsoft Bookings, it's a scheduling tool. It assists with booking appointments, and it is already included in your Office 365 Rutgers Connect license. There's many different ways you can actually use it. It's not intended for just one specific scenario. For example, a faculty member could use it to have students request office hours. We've also seen it in cases where students have scheduled auditions through it. So there's a lot of different ways that it can be used. I'll go over more of that later, but it is like I said, a calendar resource. You would manage your bookings in the application itself. Once you configure your booking, you then have a page that you can share with others to begin scheduling. It's web-based. Like I said, there's also an application, and it's actually optimized with staff calendars in Office 365. So it gives everybody the best flexibility for scheduling. So how it works specifically, there's two major components with bookings. There's the booking page, where users can schedule appointments with staff members. At its core, there has to be a specific service that is specified in the booking itself. There can be more than one, but the whole premise is that there is a service, and each service, staff members are assigned to that service. So with the booking page, it can be shared with a direct link or even link embedding. The second component is the web application itself, where you can configure everything, the settings, what it looks like for other people, manage the services, the staff members. There's a lot to unpack with it, but there's a lot of versatility with bookings as well. You can customize it freely to meet the needs of your group. Once you've specified the service and have assigned the staff members, then you can move forward and specify the office hours, the meeting times, location, and more. In the next slide, you'll see an example of that. But it's actually really handy because once people sign up for booking slots, there's also the ability to schedule meeting links, like through Microsoft Teams or any meeting platform that you may use. Bookings helps you with that as well. So it's really versatile. You can do a lot with it.
Liz, Frank Rita, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted you to be aware that your presenter notes are showing along with the slides. So
maybe I can switch.
just an FYI.
Does that work?
I don't know that it's a
That's
problem.
okay. No,
Yeah,
it's not. This is going to be uploaded later, so anybody can read it. It's more for everybody else, not just for me.
Awesome.
So, yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Hopefully this is better now. I don't know if you see the top part. I'm very new to Zoom. Forgive me. So here is an example of what the bookings page that comes with bookings will look like. As you can see, this one has actually two services: office hours, advising. You can have one, you can have multiple. Then you actually have the ability to, you have the ability to grant users the ability to select a specific staff member if they so wish. It's optional. You don't have to do that. It can be anybody or it can be hidden. And then you can see all the available slots for the booking times for that day, depending on, if the staff member, what staff member is available on that day. So yeah, you can configure it a number of different ways. And this is what an internal booking page would look like. For external users, they would have the first name, last name, other information you may like to receive from an external user that is booking a time slot. Okay, So how does it really work? It did get a little confusing before, I'm sure, for some who have never seen bookings before. At its core, I might have mentioned this, I might not have, but bookings is actually created with its own email address, its own mailbox in Office 365. Um, the email address is where all meeting invitations will come from. So we've had a few questions from users that have stated, okay, I see that there's an email address associated with the booking. I see that it sends emails out. What happens when a user tries to email that email address? Um, for to make it simple, what Microsoft has done is they've updated the headers within those emails. So every reminder, every update, every change that is sent from that booking address, if a student or user responds to that email, the reply to is actually associated with the staff member that is assigned to that booking. So for example, let's say somebody signs up for a time slot with me. They'll receive an email from list meeting time at connect.rutgers.edu, whatever the booking may be, whatever the booking name may be, with meeting confirmation, invite link. In that email, they can also reschedule the meeting, cancel the meeting. But let's say they have a question and they want to email that email address, they want to respond to that email address with whatever question they may have. That email will actually go to me instead of that booking email address because I am on that booking slot with the user. And the reply to is set to be me because of that. So it's a very useful tool that Microsoft has done. I do have to note that this does not stop a user from taking that booking email address and creating a brand new email and sending it there. There is a way owners can open up that booking mailbox, but it's not really intended to be used for that. But that is for those cases if that does happen. There is a way to view those emails. So yeah, it's really handy, and it makes it easy for the staff members to see any email that may come from those cases. So there's an email address associated and a mailbox. So let's say you want to get a booking started. What you can do is, well, you will have to, if you're not a delegated administrator, you will have to reach out to your delegated administrator to just have them created. Not the whole configuration part. We do this because, like we said, there is an email address associated with the booking. We don't really have a way to restrict the naming in the booking panel itself. So by doing this, delegated administrators can then assign the booking to the proper domain, give it a proper name. This is just for helping us preserve the namespace in our environment and helping others as well. So if you don't know your delegated administrator, the help desk can help you. It's also listed on the IT website. But once it's created, the delegated administrator will give you administrator permissions. Then you can open the bookings tab. I'll go over how you can look at your booking, but you can open it and configure the rest through the booking page. So the only thing that is needed for that process is creation. Once creation is done, then you can configure it how you like. So once it's been created and once you've been given administrator access, you can open bookings through the waffle menu. There is a bookings tab. You may have all seen it before. There's also an application on mobile web devices. There's a number of different ways you can access bookings. For time's sake, I can't really give you a whole view of that, but let's say you open bookings and you don't see your booking right away. You can look it up by name in the search section here, or by email address if you happen to know it. Usually they're the same, or they should be the same. If you have a different booking that's already open, if you click under the name of the booking, it'll give you the option to open a new one. I have a few different ones, so sometimes it gets a little confusing, but that is how you would access it. And here's the main page. Fun fact, bookings was actually created with businesses in mind. So you may see revenue and things of the such, but we've been able to use it in a number of different ways otherwise. So you don't get thrown off by estimated revenue. There is plenty of things you can do with bookings. But yeah, this is what the main page will look like. And then there are many different tabs. Let me go over that quickly. Many different settings, as you saw on the last page. It'll be on the left-hand side of the tabs here. Many different settings to bookings to try and get it to mesh with what your group is looking for. Calendar is where you can see all of your bookings across the board, all services, all staff members. Calendar is really important because that is where the staff members will cancel or reschedule their bookings, not the user, obviously. This gets confusing because when you do have a booking that's assigned to you as a staff member, it shows up on your personal calendar. But this isn't connected to the booking in any way. It's just for your personal calendar to see that that is when you have the meeting. So some have come to us with confusion. Okay, I deleted the event in my calendar, but the booking is still there. So this is the calendar section is where a staff member would go to maybe cancel a booking with the user or reschedule it. The booking page is where you can design everything. Publish, unpublish that booking page that you saw, edit notifications, office hours, or excuse me, booking hours. People use it for office hours. The staff section is where you would add all those staff members I mentioned, give them specific permissions. There's a view only permission, an administrative permission, and services is where, like I mentioned, there has to be a service before there are staff members. That service can be meeting times, room meetings. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but it does have to be specified on the booking page so users know what the booking is for, and then staff members are assigned to that service. And I mentioned before use cases. We've seen a wide variety of different ways people have used bookings, to my shock as well, because I'm excited to see it evolve over time. Office hours is the most common one. This way, students can see exactly when they can sign up for a time slot. Auditions and Mason Groves, I've seen this as well. You put up a specific slot with a specific instructor, and students will then sign up for whatever works best for them. Meeting rooms we've seen as well, which is really nice. Instead of staff members, it'll be the meeting room. So there's a number of different ways you can configure it, and advisors as well I've seen. Hand in hand with office hours as well, but yeah, it makes scheduling a whole lot easier for two parties who maybe it's up in the air of when they can schedule time to meet. So it's really useful in cases like those. I didn't have much time to give you a whole deep dive, but if you want to know more, there's a whole page on it on the Rutgers IT website, knowledge base it.rutgers.edu, Rutgers Connect, knowledge base, Microsoft bookings. You can see it if you go to the Rutgers Connect resources page, and there's lots of examples, terminology for both delegate administrators and staff members. So yeah, this is what you need to know if you want to get started with bookings at the very least. So hopefully, I can't see my time, so I'm so sorry if I went over or under, but I'm here to answer any questions you may have about bookings, or maybe give an example if somebody would like to see it. So thank you for giving me the time to talk about it.
Yeah, I think you did well on time, Liz. Alyssa, thank you very much. Let's see if we do have a couple of questions. Some of them we may have to get back to folks. One comes in from Peter Zatelli. He says, what is the best way to use Zoom with bookings? So far, I've recommended to users that they include their Zoom personal room link in the automated messages sent by bookings, and told them to make sure their Zoom personal room has the waiting room turned on.
Yeah, I believe that that's the best way right now, because there's more of an integration with Teams than there is with Zoom that I'm aware of. But I'll actually look into that, because I know we do have some integrations in Office 365 with Zoom, but I don't think there's much of a way that you can edit those emails that come from the bookings email addresses that I mentioned to include those Zoom links in other ways that you've mentioned. So I'll have to look into that, but I believe that that's the best course of action right now with Zoom, at least. That's a really good question. I'll look to see if there's any plans maybe in the future to include other types of meetings, but I believe right now they're really pushing Microsoft Teams for those things. But we can hopefully see if we can include another way to get Zoom to look a little bit nicer, maybe not just include the whole personal room. I'll definitely look into that.
Thank you. Here's another one that we may have to get back to, folks. This comes in from Eugene June. Are there any plans for integrations for Microsoft bookings with Salesforce?
We haven't, to my knowledge, gotten that requests, but yeah, any integration that you have in mind, please open a ticket with us and we'll look into it. I haven't heard of from anybody a Salesforce bookings integration, but I'm excited to look into it for sure.
Okay, thank you. Here's another one from Abir Elaroff. Hi, I tried to create a calendar and I received you don't have access to create a new booking calendar.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, you're going to get that page when you try to create your own booking. The reason for that, again, as I mentioned, is because it automatically assigns it an @connect domain, and we'd like to have it associated with different domains, the booking mailboxes. So delegated administrators would have to go into the Connect admin tool instead, and there should be an option to create a booking through the, I believe it's the resource section. But yeah, at this time, it's only delegated administrators that can create it. This is also to prevent maybe students with Connect accounts from creating lots of bookings or things of the such. So that's the only barrier, unfortunately. But once it's created, then you have all the ability to edit it and change it the way you like.
Okay, this comes in from an anonymous attendee. Is there a way to embed a calendar widget in an email itself instead of just a link to the bookings page?
I'll have to look into that because I have tried before, I believe, to embed the bookings calendar. Definitely get back to us about that. I'll investigate. I wasn't successful personally, but there may be a way. People have been coming to me with all the different ideas and things that they've done with bookings, which has really impressed me. So, feel free to open a ticket with us, Connect support, if you would like immediate assistance with that, and I can definitely look into it myself. But I'm sorry, I can't give you an answer off the top of my head. I've tried it before to no success, I think. But
that's fine. We appreciate anything you can help us with. Another one from Winnie Ling Looper. Can bookings create Zoom meetings or just team meetings? I think we covered that a little.
Yeah, it's just Teams meetings. Again, I'd have to look into our integration. I think bookings is a little bit more rigid with how the integrations work. Teams, I believe, is the only one right now because everything's connected in the Office 365 universe. And I believe, as Pete mentioned, right now you can only include the personal meeting room, but I'm eager to look into that after this presentation for you guys. So hopefully we can see more.
I think this might be the last one. Comes from Tracy Meyer. For meeting rooms, would you use resource accounts? What other differences would there be in configuring bookings for meeting rooms?
So for meeting rooms, okay, it gets a little bit tricky because you do have to navigate bookings a little bit more. You would create the staff members instead of individuals would be the resource accounts from my testing. And then you can see the availability of those resource accounts or calendar accounts, however you may use them. It looks at the availability of the calendar tied to that account. So yes, you would use the resource accounts as staff members assigned to that service, and then it would look at the availability in that sense. So yeah, it does. We do tend to step around how, what we can do with bookings, but it does work. It does work at the end of the day. So that's how you'd be able to navigate that with meeting rooms. You just use the account that's tied with the availability of that room.
Okay, I think I see two more here, but I think they're redundant and they answer each other. Can we get a data export for these bookings? And then someone says, as a CSV for a custom period.
I'm not sure what type of data you're looking to export. If you mean an entire calendar, I'd probably need more information on what type of data you're looking for, because there's so much in bookings. I believe you probably mean every information in a booking calendar. I don't believe there's a way to do that. I could be wrong, but the last time I checked, I don't think there was. But yeah, I probably will need a little bit more info on what you're looking to export.
Great job, Alyssa. Thank you so much for being the bravest, the first one out.
Thank you.
Take on this challenge. And